All right, so now I have my layer mask and I can see it. And I'm going to click on my mask, right? I'm going to click on my mask here. And I'm going to, I see some things I want to clean up with a brush. So I'm going to click on my brush tool and I'm going to paint with white because it's taken off too much of this edge. And I just want to paint with the white and the brush. And the brush is too big. I'm going to reduce my brush size. And I want to clean up a little bit of this and watch what happens when I do that. So I can just now come in here and clean up with that brush if I want to. Nice and neat. And if I overdo it, if I get too much, I just switch to black and then I can come back in here and take a little bit of that out. Okay, or if you ever see anything like here, I see a little bit of, or that might just be on the screen, a little bit of extra pixels, just paint them black and they will clear up. All right, so now I've got this as a separate layer. I should have duplicated the layer inside of this. It's good sometimes when I don't do these things, so I can show you how to fix them. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to save this as chair. Okay, and then I want to open my image. And now let's bring them back in together. Okay. And view, fit on screen. Okay, so now bring this down here, nudge it over. I should have just duplicated the layer so that it wouldn't have to do this. Okay. Now, what I can do with this layer, which is now on top, as you see I have the second chair, is I can now bring out another chair. So now I have two chairs. Now you see there's a problem, right? This chair is now tiny compared to that chair because it's the same chair moved out of perspective. And one of the things you can do with this is edit, transform, perspective. And what this should help me do is make an adjustment to the chair. And so that it works in perspective, I'm going to put it over here. Okay, edit, transform, scale. I want to make it smaller because it's an exact copy of the chair. So make it smaller. And this is where your just natural ability to eyeball things kind of comes in handy. It's still too big. There we go. Okay, so let me show you how I know that I'm good. This is what I want to do. I'm just going to create a new layer so that I'm painting on this layer, and I'm going to draw lines. From here. Okay, so you see I have vanishing points, right? I have vanishing lines. So if I draw a line from there to there, and a line from there to there, it's going to go back to a vanishing point. That's way too big. And as my lines on my page, create my lines on my page, the lines from this chair should align with the lines from this chair. So based on drawing that line across here, I know this chair is still too big. So what I'm going to do is delete these lines. I'm going to go back to my chair here. scale, and I'm going to scale it down more so that it works with that perspective, so that it fits with those lines. Okay, so now if I draw a line from here to here, right across, that works. Here to here, it's still too high. So edit, transform, scale, and that looks pretty good actually. So now I have two chairs in my scene, and if I draw a line from this point to this point in the chair, it aligns with this point, all the way to the horizon. This line aligns with this line all the way to the horizon. This with this line all the way to the horizon. Okay, and so that is those are some of the transform tools that you can use. So now I have two chairs. Okay, I have lost my other image. Arrange, float, all in Windows, and now I got it back. Okay, and so there's my original image, and then there's my second image. Now there's obviously, let me close that since I don't need it anymore. There's obviously some problems with this chair, and mainly that it doesn't have shadows. So what I'm going to do is create a new layer, and I'm going to sample, where's my sample? Right here, sample, call it with the eyedropper tool, this shadow color. Okay, and that is going to allow me then to make that brush a little bit bigger and softer. That looks pretty good. And it's going to allow me now to come in here, and this layer will need to be below since it's the shadow, and paint shadows to match okay. And now what I'm going to do is filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and it's going to soften that image and darken. Okay, and that is, it's not great. You'd want to slow down and do a better job than I did it quickly here. But so, and that allows you to give your second chair some, a shadow so that it anchors it. Now at this point, most people would not be able to tell a difference. Now, if I had spent more time, this should not take you 10 minutes to do. If I spent the whole time doing it, you guys would fall asleep in the middle of the video. But you should take some time now that you've placed your chair where you want to, and then now come in and clean it up even more to make sure it looks, well, actually that looks pretty good, doesn't it? But you want to clean up just a little bit more to make sure that it looks like it's in the scene. And that might involve, you know, making some other adjustments. Now, another cool thing I can do with this, because it's a separate chair, is I can add a let's do hue saturation, and I want to just work with the greens, and I can make a tiny little adjustment to that green chair. Now it's not taking it. Of course, it's going to read it as yellow, and the whole chair is yellow. All right, so this wasn't going to be as simple as I had hoped. But you could just tweak it just a tiny little bit so the chairs aren't completely identical. I like that. I've added just a little bit to the yellow. And now obviously I want to create a clipping mask. Okay. And fit screen. And obviously I have clone chairs, and that is going to not be realistic, but for this case, considering we've zoomed back, we're far out, that's basically how you do it. I mean, those chairs are absolutely identical, and that doesn't happen in real life, but it's how you would clip and mask one image to move it into another scene, which is part of what you're doing for this assignment. And then just adding in the shadow, and there we go, and that's it. I mean, just with those little bits of changes, just those little bits of adjustments, I've got 2 chairs in there now. Okay, so before, after. Okay, so those are your selection tools, and image, edit, and then transform. We talked a little about scale, talked about perspective. Perspective helps you adjust things to fit in if the perspective's off. You can also distort, skew, rotate. I'll show you rotate right quick with the chair. Oh, sorry, I selected the wrong one. Edit, transform, rotate. You can grab by the corners up here and rotate an object, which wouldn't be appropriate in this case. You can also give it, let me show you this, you can also tell it an exact angle. So if I told it I wanted to rotate 90 degrees, you see it's rotated at exactly 90 degrees. And you can undo these. And until you click on this move tool again, it will accept it. Otherwise, it won't accept it. And then you can undo it if you need to undo it. And so that works with skew. I almost never use that, but you might. Just drag this corner and it skews the object. That may be a tool that works. If I wanted to somehow or the other, I don't really make it look a little bit different at least. Could stretch it. You can distort it by using any of these points to create this distortion. These are tools I've never used, but they can help when you're trying to get an object to fit within a scene where it needs to be shrunk in some capacity. If you want to warp is a whole other level. You can rotate an object exactly 180 degrees, or you can do it clockwise 90, counterclockwise. If I flip this horizontal, it flips the chair the other way. And if I flip it vertical, it flips it upside down. And you're going to have the ability to modify this until you're done modifying it, and then you just click on the move tool and it accepts it. And then if you want to undo it, you just undo it. Okay, so those are the transform tools. And free transform is when if you click free transform, it lets you do everything and anything. You can scale it, you can rotate it, you can stretch it, you can make changes up here to the where it's located. You can put in an exact angle, you can put in an exact height, you can tell it a percent. So you've got all these different things, and when you're done, you just say okay, and it accepts it, or you can click on the move tool and it accepts it, and you are good to go. Okay, I'm going to stop this here.